Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Look Ahead. Very excited to be doing this show. It's been a couple of days since I've been in front of the camera and a bit more rejuvenated now that all the rigmarole on Twitter is all solved and we're all best of friends again. So really looking forward to doing this show. I've got Craig ready to come on for NUFC stuff. I've got Lewis, who's a big Burnley fan who wants to talk about their chances on Sunday. So yeah, this is the Look Ahead. Awesome. So before I bring the boys in, I'm just going to quickly mention this again. As soon as I hit 500 subscribers on YouTube, you will be put into a free draw and a chance to win Alan Shearer's testimonial program, a Peter Beardsley signed postcard, and a Retro Division 1 Championship retro shirt, which has never been worn. It's all worth about £100, and I'm giving it away to one lucky viewer. So please subscribe and you'll have a chance of winning it. So let's bring the boys in. All right, Craig, how are you doing tonight?
Hello. Yeah, good. Cheers, Baz. Good to see you.
Good. Lewis, thank you for joining us on the Bazzatees NUFC as a Burnley fan. I hope we've got a few Burnley fans watching, your friends. I hope you've let them know you're on.
Yeah, of course. I've retweeted it. Everyone should be joining soon.
Happy days. So the first thing I just want to highlight, obviously it's nothing to do with Burnley, unfortunately, but we've got to do it. The pledge, the 1892 scheme. Now, I don't know if you've heard much about this, Lewis and Craig. I don't know if you're a member or not, which I am. I paid £10 to be a lifetime member. But Rio Ferdinand said a few months ago, why don't the fans put their hands in their own pocket and buy the club? So this is what these guys are trying to do. Even though they're not going to raise 350 million, they're trying to raise 3 million to get 1% of the club, which will then get them a seat on the board and get the eyes and ears in the background again. Craig, is it a good idea?
Yeah, I don't see why not. I'd only just heard about it the other day. I had a quick read of it earlier on this morning. Rio Ferdinand said go and buy the club if you hate it that much. So, like you said, you're not going to raise 300 million quid to buy the club outright. But I think most clubs to have some fan-led support, whether it's on the board, whether it's within the club, I think that's definitely a good thing. It gives them a say. It makes the people higher above accountable, I guess, if they've got some actual paying fans on the board or part of the club, then yeah, it's definitely a good idea, and I think more clubs should do it. And I think in Germany, don't have 41%, or I think it's about half the club has to be owned by the fans anyway. So it's nothing new, but yeah, it's I think it's quite a good thing to introduce anyway.
Awesome. I think the one thing from my side of it is that it's only going to go through if Ashley sells the club. So even if they raise the 3 million and Ashley hasn't sold it, they're not going to get the 1% stake. So it feels like a 50-50 chance it's even going to happen, even if we get the money. And then if it fails, they're going to give the money to charity and say, well, maybe keep a hold of it and wait till it goes through. I don't know. It just, I think there's a few little grey areas in it that need to be ironed out. But to get a seat on the board, to finally get the fans involved in our club again would be unbelievable, because what Charney's like and what Ashley's like, we hear nothing, nothing about transfers, nothing about loans, nothing about what the club's doing, what direction they want to take us, which is obviously down in our eyes. Lewis, would you like to see this sort of thing at Burnley?
Well, I mean, I don't see why I won't want to see it in any club, to be honest. I mean, it's like Craig said, it's a good idea for every club, but I mean, we've recently just been taken over by obviously Alan Pace, and he's quite good at interacting with the fans and stuff. So there's not really a massive problem with Burnley fans and the owner and stuff right now. But I can see why Newcastle fans would definitely want to do it. Yeah.
Awesome. I mean, we've read a bit into the Burnley takeover, and there was a lot being said about it. I don't know how true it's all been, but have they bought the club and put it straight into debt or not? Or was that all just a terrible rumour?
Yeah, well, that is what kind of happened, but they always had it under control. I'm pretty sure. I think it's already been sorted and stuff now anyway. So it was only like a temporary debt just so they could buy the club.
Ah, right. So you're happy with your owners. There's no issues there now, because I mean, when it all came out on the news, we were like, well, how have Burnley been able to be sold to someone who's put them in debt? And Newcastle could even get a takeover by people who have got more money than all the clubs put together. It just all seemed a bit weird to us, being up in North and not knowing much about what was going on down your end. So you're, as a fan base, you're happy about your owners. There's no issues there.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I think it all depends on the summer and see what we do in the transfer window and stuff. Obviously, it was still quite fresh in January, so we didn't really expect much, obviously. But in the summer, it all depends on the transfers, because we obviously need to spend some money. As you know, Burnley don't really ever seem to spend any money at all. So we're running off one signing which costs $1 million right now, which is Dale Stevens. So that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, technically we had a better transfer window than you, but we're still crap. That's what happens when you have Steve Bruce in charge. So that brings me nicely on to Steve Bruce today and his press conference. He likes a bit of apple pie, apparently. He obviously this has been photoshopped, and you've got to love a bit of American pie. But the guy apparently was more interested in talking about apple pies than he was talking about this fan takeover or even talking about the Burnley game. I mean, Craig, every week we talk about this man as the cabbage. He never seems to want to interact with the fans correctly. If the fans were in the stadium, I personally think he'll be gone. He says he wants to stay on next season, regardless if we go down or stay up. I mean, is this man deluded? Should he be sectioned?
I think you're right. I mean, and the fact that if there were 52 screaming fans, 52,000 screaming Geordies at him, then his job would be a lot more harder than it is at the minute. Obviously, he thinks he's the right person for the job. Well, there's not a lot we can really do anything about it. We'll have to have our fingers crossed and hope he can, do the job. But you're talking about the pie thing. It's, the questions get asked and he answers the questions, and whether it's to deflect from the fact that he, A, doesn't know what he's talking about, or B, doesn't know what's going on, it's kind of, but,
He's very good at deflecting, isn't he? He's very good at deflecting stats as well. Because, I mean, he says, oh, yeah, we're on a good run at the moment. But if you actually break it down, we've won 2 games in 21. So how can he say we're on a good run? Just because we've drawn a few games. It baffles me why he never gets pulled up on these sort of stuff that he says in the press. I know they'll get banned if they do, but as fans, we're paying the press's wages by playing into Sky Sports and all this sort of stuff. We want to see the hard questions asked.
Yeah, but none of the managers get asked those questions anyway. In any press conference, really, there is quite a laissez-faire attitude towards like asking those kind of tough questions. Like you say, if you ask the wrong question, you get banned. You're not allowed back in the press conference, and that happens any club, any manager. I mean, it's that, isn't it? But it's there's only so many questions that they can ask that you're going to give an honest response to you, because you ask any manager half the questions, they will just bat it back with a straight bat and they won't give you anything. They're taught like that now, aren't they? They go through the media training, and it's a case of don't say anything, basically, isn't it? Just give them a few lines. He's talked about apple pie. That's what they're going to talk about. They're not going to talk about the fact that they've got no players. The squad's terrible. They're playing horrible football. They're just going to talk about the apple pie, and then that comes back round to that, isn't it? So it's
crazy.
It's a funny one.
It just does my head in. I mean, if I was a reporter and I was in front of Steve Bruce, he probably wouldn't survive, to be honest with you, because I don't think I'll ask him a question. I think I would have lynched him. But that's why I'm not a reporter. So, Lewis, this man been an absolute rock for you guys for so many years now, Sean Dyche. Obviously, there's rumours that Newcastle would be interested in taking him. He's a man who does a solid job. I don't think he's a man for Newcastle personally myself. But what would happen to Burnley if that man left?
Well, I mean, I was talking about the owners earlier and spending money and stuff, and like I said, we barely spend any money. But without Sean Dyche, I don't know where we'd be right now, honestly. Because, like I said, when we're not spending money, we need obviously a good manager there, and Sean Dyche has done it for us. Obviously, his style of play. I mean, everyone talks about Burnley and their style of play, and obviously it's boring and all that sort of stuff. But with the money he's got to spend, I don't really see what more he can do, to be honest. So obviously, I'm really happy with Sean Dyche.
He always seems to target a big centre forward, though, doesn't he? I mean, obviously Chris Wood, Ashley Barnes, Vidra, all three of them are above 6 foot. They're strong. The ability-wise, they're not, like an Alan Shearer, Aguero, or an Henry, or something like that. But they always do a great job for you. And every time we play you guys, especially at Turf Moor, we always seem to struggle because you're a strong side, and even though the football is not great at times, you're very good at what I call the Sam Allardyce tactic, which is you always win the second ball, and the second ball is the most important ball rather than the first ball. And if you get those bodies in the box like you do, something always falls to them, and they're very, very cute at finishing at times. I remember Ashley Barnes knocking one in at St James's Park a couple of years ago where he came out with nothing and you ended up getting a point and walking away 1-1 draw. I was like, what just happened? But that's what Sean Dyche seems to be good at. He grinds out results. He gets the team set up very well, and they seem to have a good camaraderie around them. They just seem to have they seem to be brilliant. I just don't see him as a Newcastle manager, though. Because you ever see him leaving Burnley and going to a no disrespect, sort of a bigger club, like say a Leicester or someone like that, and then playing a different style of football to suit that team? Or do you think he's a one-trick pony with yourselves?
Oh, it's hard to say really, because we've never really seen anything else from Sean Dyche really. But I think I think there's been a lot of rumours going around with Sean Dyche and going to different clubs and stuff, but I can't really see him leaving Burnley, especially if he gets the backing now from the new owners and stuff. I think he's quite suited at Burnley, to be honest. So I can't really see him leaving for quite a long time, to be honest.
Yeah, he's got a job for life, hasn't he? He's in a great position. It was a bit like Sam Allardyce at Bolton. He had a job for life if he didn't leave and go and get the England. Did he leave for England, or was it Newcastle he left for? I can't quite remember now. We had a torrid time at our place. I think it was, wasn't it? It's like, no, bad mistake. Yeah, so let's move on to the Burnley lineup, because I'm conscious of time for you, Lewis. Can you talk me through what you think Sean Dyche is going to do? This is obviously the lineup here. I'll just move you out a little bit so you can. There we go. Can't see my ugly face. We can see YouTube and you can see your lineup.
Yeah, well, I've gone for similar lineup to last week. There's only one change in there, which is obviously the left back. But Sean Dyche doesn't really change his side. He likes to stick with the same side usually. Obviously a 4-4-2. I've gone for Pope in goal. There's no real questions there. Usual back line of Lowton, Tarkowski and me, who's been, they've been pretty solid recently. They crumbled a bit against Southampton, specifically me. So I'd like to see him, bounce back from that. Taylor, we've had to kind of rush back from injury because Peters got injured last game, which is not ideal because obviously if Taylor gets injured now, we're in a bit of a mess. So we'll have to hope he can last the full 90 minutes and wait to obviously keep performing until Peters gets back. And then the usual midfield again, McNeil, Brownhill, Westwood and Goodmanson. No real complaints there. They've all been really good for us recently. And surprisingly, really good for us up top, Wood and Vidra. That's a new combo that we've never really seen before. And obviously it's only really happened recently, but it's been great for us. They've been scoring goals for fun then too. So they seem to really work together well. And I'm happy with that team.
You've still got Rodrigo's, haven't you? You still got Rodrigo? Is that right?
Yeah.
And you've got Barnes as well.
We've got Rodriguez on the bench, and I think Barnes is still injured. But it'll be interesting to see whether he breaks back into the lineup after how well Wood and Vidra are performing, actually.
Yeah, because if they're performing, you shouldn't drop them, should you? Really, which I know some managers like to do. They like to get the star player back in, but if them two are firing on all cylinders, you don't want to drop them. One of the big players I want to discuss from your team, and I actually saw him play for York City about 4 or 5 years ago, I think it was Nick Pope. And even then in that league, even though he was, you're talking like the League Two, I think it was, or the National League. It was a friendly game I watched him in. And even then I saw how tall he was, how commanding he was in his box. The way he took crosses was excellent. And I said to my partner's dad, I said, look, he's going to be one hell of a goalkeeper, isn't he? And he said, yeah, we're so happy to have got him on loan for a season. And he was brilliant for York City. And obviously he stepped up into Burnley. And now he's stepping up for England in my eyes. I've had huge arguments with people in a group that I run on Facebook because they're all like, oh, his distribution's not great. He can't pass a ball. I'm like, look, a goalkeeper is there to stop the ball. That's what Pope is excellent at doing, and Pickford's not. Pickford makes mistakes. He's got dinosaur arms. You know, he's like this. So, Gareth Southgate came out and said, and quote me if I'm wrong, but he said he needs to play for a bigger club. I find that very disrespectful to Burnley, because if he's number one at Burnley and he's putting in the performances, if you're putting in those performances, you deserve to play for England. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, as you say, I've had many heated debates about this as well in various different things, but I've never really understood the debate, to be honest, because I think obviously, like with distribution and stuff, I think that can be easily avoided. I think if Pope does get the ball, I don't see why he can't just absolutely punt it along and get it on Harry Kane's head or something. I don't really see the problem with that. I don't see why he has to pass it out from the back when he doesn't really need to. I don't get the point, to be honest. But I think in terms of that sort of his distribution and sort of stuff, I think he makes up for that with how commanding he is in the box and his shot stopping. I've said it before. I think in terms of goalkeepers, I think he's one of the best shot stoppers in the Premier League. I think he's unreal, to be honest. I think I would honestly say he's top 3 shot stoppers in the Prem. Obviously, distribution and sort of stuff lets him down a bit. But like I said before, I don't really see why that's massively needed. I think he should definitely be starting for England.
I mean, when you look at England's back line and you've got to pass the ball out to Harry Maguire, why the hell would you want to play out from the back anyway?
Exactly. We saw it with John Stones as well against Poland.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, John Stones, don't get me wrong, he's a very good ball player, but he's prone to making mistakes, and he's prone to making silly mistakes like he did. I mean, I had an argument again with people about that, saying, well, Pope's pass was terrible. I said, yeah, the pass was bad. But you're talking the striker had to run about 30 yards to get to John Stones before he was even in trouble. So his touch was terrible. He then made the wrong decision coming inside when he could have went down the line. You know, it was that in-game play management that was just terrible from John Stones in my eyes. Yes, the pass wasn't great, but that's not Pope's game. He's there to save goals. Craig, what's your take on Nick Pope being in goal for England? Because I think he should start straight away. I don't think there's a debate, but obviously people think I'm wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously Pickford's been reasonably good for the last few years. He was fantastic at the World Cup in Russia. He didn't do anything wrong, so why should he be dropped? He's made a few more mistakes for Everton this season. He's looked a bit dodgy. But we've always known he's got his little dinosaur arms anyway, and it's not going to help him. But yeah, I mean, I think Pope should be starting at the minute. He's a good shot stopper, like Lewis said. He can command the area. He's solid. He's as you said, he's a goalkeeper. Saves shots, commands the area, wins the balls. His distribution's not great, but how many times does a goalkeeper get an assist? How many times really does the goalkeeper start the play? There might be 2 or 3 times in the game where the goalkeeper is the one who actually begins the action, begins the play. So, like Lewis says, well, just punt it up, get it out, win the ball, give it to Stones, pass it to somebody. It doesn't have to be Edison or Alisson with that kind of distribution playing for England. You can, again, a goalkeeper's job is to stop the ball going in the back of the net. End of the minute,
I completely agree.
He's not really making the mistakes. He's head and shoulders above Pickford in general. I don't know whether Lewis, you'll probably know better, whether he's made any mistakes this season, or has he looked dodgy in any games, kind of thing. He's just a solid all the way through, isn't he?
Obviously every goalkeeper makes a couple of mistakes. I think he's made maybe 1 or 2, but I think he made one against Man City, most recent one, I think, where he's just palmed it away in someone's feet. But I think in general, like even the Southampton game, we've conceded 3 goals in that game, and this is where the bigger club comment kind of does come into play a bit. Is he's still conceded 3 goals in that game, even though he's played, in my opinion, probably one of the best players on the pitch, which is a bit of a shame, really. Which it's not really like Burnley that game either. But I mean, I don't see why he has to go to a bigger club just to get into the England side. It makes no sense to me. I don't think it's that hard to adapt your tactics for a goalkeeper. If I'm honest, I think Southgate could easily do that.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think Southgate forgets a lot that he did play for Villa himself. He did play for Middlesbrough, and he got himself in the England team. So you don't have to play for a big club, do you? I mean, at the time when he was playing for them, they weren't exactly big clubs. So I hate this big club debate. It does my head in. If you're good enough, you play. Go on, Craig.
For
you going to say something?
I'm saying for a goalkeeper, it's probably better that you play for a lesser club because you know, in a way, you're getting more action. You're getting, if you're Edison or Allison, or you're playing for one of the top clubs. England when they played Albania, you didn't do anything, touch the ball 3 times or something. It's like, how's that benefiting you as a goalkeeper? You might as well go and play for Newcastle or Burnley or Southampton, where you're going to get action and you're going to hone your talent, aren't you? So.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, if you think about it, if you play for a lower club, you're saving more shots every week, aren't you? So you're more in the action. If you're a goalkeeper for Man City, you're standing twiddling your thumbs half the game, aren't you? Because the ball's coming nowhere near you. So yeah, it's a valid point. Yeah. Paul's asked a good question there. He likes Tom Heaton. I was a big fan of Tom Heaton as well until he got injured. What's the crack with Tom? Is he looking to leave the club now because he's not getting back in the side, or is he happy? Is he still injured? Or I'm not sure.
Do you mean Tom Heaton at Burnley?
Yeah,
he's at Aston Villa now. But when he was, yeah,
Jesus, shows you how much I know about what's going on.
No worries.
I used to like Tom Heaton. He was a very good goalkeeper.
Yeah, when he played for Burnley, he was one of our favourite players as well. We highly rate him at Burnley, and we didn't want to see him go, to be honest, but he had to. So
yeah, because he kept Pope out the team, didn't he? For when Pope was starting to break through, and then he got injured, and Pope put in those displays. I think it was 7 games in a row or something. He almost kept a clean sheet, didn't he? And then Tom was like, I'm not getting back in this team now. I'm away him in front of us. Yeah, I didn't realise he'd left. That just shows you how much I know. Because he's not even getting a game for them either, is he?
No, it's Martinez.
Martinez, yeah. He saved a great free kick against someone, if I remember rightly. I think it was against Southampton. Do we think Alisson's any good?
His Tash is kind of good.
Yeah. I like it. So, looking at the Burnley setup, Lewis, obviously I know you need to go very soon, so last question for you, pal.
No worries.
Where's your dangers coming from? Is it winning the ball high up the pitch and high press and getting balls in the box? Looking at the 2 big guys up front, obviously your wingers are going to have a big say in it as well. Just to give you an idea what Newcastle might do, we think we'll go 5 at the back and play probably 2 holding midfielders potentially, and then let the few guys that we've got up front try and do their stuff. So have you got what it takes to break us down potentially with playing 5 at the back? How do you see it panning out?
Yeah, well, I think obviously there'll be the usual stuff, I imagine, crosses into the box, all that sort of stuff for Chris Wood to get his head on and stuff. But I think having Vidra in the side, who's a bit more of a tricky player, it's added a little bit of something else for us recently. I mean, he scored a great volley against Southampton last week when we played them, and he's just in general brought a little. I like to say he's brought a little bit of spice to the team. He's spiced it up a bit, and I don't know. He takes on players a lot more, and obviously having him alongside Chris Wood's got more confidence to take shots outside the box and stuff. And I think a lot of players do, to be honest. I mean, McNeil against Everton, that goal was a great example because lately he doesn't really been shooting. He hasn't really been on form or anything. But I think having someone like Vidra in the side who's inspiring everyone a little bit, I think it's causing everyone to shoot a bit more outside the box and not just whip it in for a big header from Chris Wood.
Yeah, no, it's good to have that different side of your game, isn't it? Because if you are just holding the ball in the box, we could just play 3 massive centre-backs and hope we can deal with them for 90 minutes. If you play a tricky player alongside them, you've then got something else to think about. And our defence isn't exactly the quickest. So, if you've got someone who is tricky around the box, you can pick up something from a loose header and you just never know what's going to happen. So, yeah, it's a valid point. Paul's put probably 6 at the back. I mean, I was quite impressed with us against Spurs. I know Spurs played a very strange team, but it gave me a bit of hope watching that. When we went to 5 at the back, and no one likes 5 at the back at our club. As a fan base, we despise it. But it seemed to work, so it's given me a little bit more confidence going into Sunday watching that. But what about Marcus Benatelli? Did anyone rate him? Paul's asking.
I
don't really know too much of him.
No.
We'll just say, nah, sorry, mate.
We'll pass.
We'll pass on that one. So,
yeah.
Last quick question, Lewis. What's the score prediction for Sunday, mate?
Well, I would usually back Burnley in this situation, but you've just come off the back of a good result against Tottenham. We've come off the back of a poor result, so I'm going to play it safe. I'm going to say what everyone says. I'm going to go for 1-1. Everyone says that, so I'm just going to follow it.
They do, yeah. Craig, how many times have we said 1-1 in the last 4 games? It's been crazy. Every week, yeah, we'll take a point. We'll take a point. I am actually a little bit more confident, to be honest with you. I think we might, if we get Wilson back in the team, which is a potential, we might have enough up front to beat you. But again, I'd take a point if Fulham get beat tonight. That's the big question. If Fulham win, then it's a must-win game on Sunday for Newcastle. So, yeah, it's going to be a battle, as it always is at the Turf Moor. It really is. And good luck to you. Obviously, we don't want you to win. It's not going to be a classic, yeah. It's not. They wouldn't have picked it for Sky if it wasn't for COVID. Let's put it that way. It would have been a 3 o'clock kickoff on a Saturday, wouldn't it?
It's not going to be.
It wouldn't be a Monday night special. So, Lewis, before we go, do you just want to let everyone know about your channel, mate? 'Cause I know you do videos and post them. I did a little video for you. I hope it was good.
Yeah.
I hope you put some good animation in there, which I would have liked to have put in myself. But you said you like doing it, so I hope you put the big cabbage for Steve Bruce in there.
Oh, I'll make sure to put him in. Don't worry. I'll find a way to find him in. But yeah, I just run a Burnley channel a bit like this, just talking about match previews, all that sort of stuff, and anything football really. So it's just Lewis Porter on YouTube if you want to give it a follow.
Excellent. I'm positive I put it in the description. If I haven't, I'll make sure I will. I think I put your Twitter handle in there for definite. So any Burnley fans out there, or even Newcastle fans who want to know more about other clubs, please follow Lewis. He's a good kid. And thanks for coming on, mate. And if we stay in the Premier League, I'll be in touch again for next season.
No worries, mate. Thank you for having me. Thank you, Craig, as well.
Thank you for coming on, pal.
Cheers, Lewis.
See you later.
See you, mate. Good kid. It's nice to get nice people on, isn't it, Craig?
Yeah. It was bedtime.
Can you imagine? I don't know. I think he said he had something on at 8 o'clock, so I was like, all right, yeah, fair enough. But can you imagine what it would be like if we do get relegated and suddenly get promoted, and we've got to do one of these shows, and we've got to get a Macam on? How am I going to find someone who can actually talk to us that we don't get angry with and they don't get angry with us? It'll be very, very difficult. I do. I've got a very good friend who actually watches the shows sometimes, because I used to work with him. Ian Eglantine, if you're watching. Hi. But
I've seen your sparring, we say, on Facebook.
Yeah, we do get angry with each other about football because he likes to wind me up, and I keep biting and biting and biting. I'm terrible. That's
what it's all about, though, isn't it?
Paul's not impressed with our knowledge of Marcus Benatelli. Sorry, pal. I don't know everything.
Need a Fulham goalkeeper. Is he Fulham? I don't know. Who is he?
I don't know. Sorry, Paul. Please enlighten us so we can make a comment for you. But that's why I get. This is why we get other people from other teams on the show, you see, so then they can tell us about their players and we don't have to look like idiots not knowing who they are. It's why we enjoy doing it this way.
We'll just talk about Newcastle.
Exactly. So Annie, very good, huge Bristol City fan, saying, hey, Lewis, Brown Hill safe. I don't know what that means, but that could be something to do with standing Turf Moor or something like that, potentially. He's a good kid. He's going to be on my channel a lot next year if we go down, because he knows a lot about the Championship, which is good. Here we go. He is the Fulham goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Well done. He's on
Yeah,
loan
I
at
had a
Borough.
feeling.
Don't test my championship knowledge.
We're gonna need it
He's
next
done well,
season.
though. Well, exactly. This is why I've signed him up.
Yeah,
Ian.
getting him.
Right. Where we are, obviously, we've gone through the Burnley lineup. Let's go through this is what we think Bruce is going to do. Well, I got you to do it, Craig, because do you know what it is? I played football for the first time in a year tonight. Guess how long I lasted?
Like 10 minutes.
5.
5 hours. Well, there you go.
I turned and my cough went.
Yeah. Nice.
And I'm in agony with it, but I'm getting through it. But 5 minutes, mate, I couldn't believe it. I did get a lovely chest down, a touch over someone's head, and I volleyed one, but then it went sky high. So that was about as good as it got. But yeah, I enjoyed it for the 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, you can never lose being crap, but I had to stand and watch for an hour and 15 minutes in the cold while everyone was still playing. I was just like, this is not good.
You should have just got a net.
Here's the lineup. No, honestly, mate, it's that bad. I can hardly walk on it.
Can't even move.
No, it's terrible. So this is what you think Bruce is potentially going to go with, and then we can rip the team apart and discuss what we would like to see. So,
yeah, well,
over to you, pal.
I had it all. I had it all done before, and I had Lascelles in. I didn't have Fraser in, and then you text me saying Lascelles is out in the team. I was like I was saying, I was in the middle of some forest going, what do I do? What do I do? So yeah, what I had looked at before. Obviously, I think we're going to stick with a 5 at the back. I think it seemed to work reasonably well against Spurs. They looked not too bad. Had a little bit more attacking intent going on. So 3 at the back, like we say, Lascelles is out injured. He looks as though he's going to be out for the rest of the season, possibly, isn't he? Which is a bit of a shame. So Dunn will be starting, and then Clark and Fernandez. I think hearing Bruce's press conference, he was a little bit less positive about Fernandez, wasn't he? So
yeah, I don't know if he's fully fit yet, but
yeah,
it's a shame.
But then who's your other option with that? If you got Kraft, haven't you? Which
he played against Spurs, didn't he? And he's gosh.
I know. So I don't know. Like you say, I don't know how fit Fernandez is, but hopefully, if he's fit enough, then he'll get in in that 3. So I don't think we've got anybody else, have we? Actually, Hayden could have fallen back in, but he hasn't, and so I don't know. I don't know who we would play if one of them wouldn't be suitable.
I mean, this is why he might revert back to a 4 at the back potentially, because there's not enough to play there. I mean, Clark is out of favour for what he said on international duty, and after the interview he did against Brighton, saying that the players weren't up for it, which was not particularly the greatest thing to say, but he was being honest, and that's obviously gotten dropped. So we are struggling at the back, but if we are to play 5 at the back, that's what I would like to see.
I think I've put Murphy in there as the right wing back. I think he probably will go that, but I mean, Manquillo. I think Manquillo's reasonably, he's decent there.
Yes, but you've got to think of the quality.
Yeah. I think looking at that Burnley lineup, I don't think they're defensively they're good, aren't they? Yeah, Tarkovsky and May and Boughton, I think they're really solid defensive. I don't think I'd had a look just before. I think there's only Man City and Chelsea who conceded fewer goals at home than Burnley have.
Yeah.
So that doesn't bode very well. But I think Murphy obviously will give you a better attacking potential than Manquillo would. Richie came back and did all right. So I suppose he's going to play. And then you talked about your middle 3. I put Longstaff in. I haven't gone with M or S, so take your pick which one you want in. I don't think there was a bit of call for Sean Longstaff. Didn't play particularly well against Spurs. I think there was a few doubters, wasn't there? I think he assisted Joe Linton for his goal, but I don't think he did an awful lot other than that, did he? So whether he's
game time though, isn't it? It's how he. He hasn't played in how long because he's been out of favour, and to be thrown straight back into a game like that, I thought he did all right, to be fair. He looked like he was blowing, but I wouldn't drop him.
But I think if you look at the other 2 that you've got in there, or the rest of them, Almiron and Shelby, I think you need somebody with a bit of bite and a bit of defensive. Definitely. Even with a back 3, I still think you need a screen, or you need somebody in there who's going to do a bit of donkey work. So whether you got Longstaff, whichever one of those, because your alternative option would be Willock probably.
It's not their strengths though, is it?
Nah, it's a bit more attacking, isn't it? And then you're looking at Hendrick, which you don't want anywhere near your pitch. So I think one of the Longstaffs, hopefully, and then like you say, Wilson, if he's back, hopefully he is back. He can play up with superstar Joe Linton, who seems to have found his shoe boots.
The one from game. 6 yards. Well, he was closer to 5 yards, wasn't he? I mean, I don't think he will start with Hendrick, which is what Keeping the Tune YT said. He's got a good channel. Everyone should follow it if they get a chance. I think we're pretty much bang on with what Bruce will do. There's only a couple of changes I would like to make, which would be potentially Joe Linton out and ASM in.
Yeah, that was, but I think again in his press conference, he was talking about the fact that, him and Wilson have both had muscle injuries, so rushing them back too early. But then they've only got 6 games left, so it's like, do you play them now or do you play them?
Yeah.
When do you play them?
Exactly.
So, and this is a game, we mentioned it last week, didn't we? That we need to start winning these games. So Burnley is a game that you would be hoping, expecting, wanting to get some points at. And when you look at the next few games, you could
Leicester away, Liverpool away, Man City at home.
yeah. You want to be getting these points now, don't you? So
yeah, I mean, I think Burnley's a must-win. I really do, or it's a must-not lose. And I think I'd rather them throw ASM and Wilson in this game and then rest them for, say, against Man City, because we're not going to get anything.
No.
I'd rather we went 11 at the back against Man City and just try and concede as less as possible, and rest the big players for the winnable games, like West Ham at home. I know they're playing really well. I know West Ham are flying and they are 4th, but West Ham haven't got a good record at St James's Park.
No.
And that potentially is maybe a winnable game. And then you've also got Arsenal. They're not playing that well. We've got them to come to St James's Park, so you'd want your big players for that game. But I would maybe write off the Liverpool, Man City and Leicester games. I'd write them off for the big players and then keep them for the potential games we might get a point from. And the other player I would like to, I mean, I know it's now never going to happen because Steve Bruce, loves Shelvey and Shelvey loves Steve Bruce. And he's now, unfortunately, going to be the captain because Lascelles is injured. But I would like to see him drop for Willock. So they're the 2 changes I would make. But other than that, because of the performance against Spurs, that's not a bad team really in a way to start with, and then maybe make the changes later on with ASM and stuff like that, and Willock coming on again as an impact. Yeah,
like obviously I think they were saying like Willock, he came on and he did well when he came on and got his goal, and like you say, you have people like that and ASM on the bench who can stretch the game later on. That's it's not a bad player to bring on as an ASM. If he's not 100% fit, then it might in a way work out in a roundabout way better kind of thing, isn't it? It's kind of see what you can do with that. Keep it 0-0. Bring on ASM. 20 minutes to go. Unleash them.
That's exactly what I said. I said keep it 0-0 till 60th minute, and then ring the changes. But it's another thing I hate about Steve Bruce, and I don't know what you think of it, but his substitutions, he was leaving them far too late against Spurs again in my eyes. He waited till like the 15 minutes to go, didn't he? Maybe 20 for 1, but then it's too late.
Yeah. You need to give players some kind of 10 minutes. You can't do a great deal in 10-15 minutes. I mean, you can do a great deal in 10-15 minutes. We've seen it before and it happens. Yeah. But in general, you especially ASM, who hasn't played for however long he's been out injured. Again, it's one of those you got to balance up, though, isn't it? You throw him in with half an hour to go. He's not 100% fit, gets crocked after 25 minutes, and you're back to square one. But I think the substitutions kind of they're tough. You whatever you do, whenever you make them, unless you bring somebody on and they've scored and turn the game, you've brought them on at the wrong time, haven't you? So
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's probably a good tactic there by that. Bring Carroll on.
Give him his minute to get his wages.
Get his win bonus in or whatever, yeah.
Yeah. I love it. It's such a difficult position to be in. I mean, for me, it's you've got to bring them on after 60 minutes, gone on the clock, give them a half an hour. I'm sure they can last a half an hour. I mean, I wasn't very impressed with ASM's physique, to be fair. I don't know if he's been eating a lot of cake when he went back to France, but he did look like he was a bit overweight, didn't he? I mean, I thought, is he waiting for next season? But we need him now. I think he'll leave, unfortunately, but we really could do with him putting in a shift over the next, at least those few winnable games, and we need him fit. Apparently Wilson's been banging them in training, though. This is the weird thing. He's banging on the door wanting to start, and Bruce is actually holding him back, which surprised me massively, because Steve Bruce is a fan of getting the players back as quickly as possibly and then throwing them in. So maybe he is targeting the games because he thought Spurs maybe wasn't a chance. So
the one that you looked at, like you say, I think we've spoke about it before, haven't we? So I mean, I think Wilson or Maximin will start. I think you want to. Wilson's your goal scorer, isn't he? You give him a sniff, and he's gonna. Maximin might create you something, whereas Wilson will get a half chance and stick it in, which is it's what we need, it's what we want right now. So.
I'm trying to keep an eye on the Fulham game, but I completely forgot to turn it on. How bad? Let's have a look.
It's 0-0, isn't it? I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, 0-0. So there's nothing to worry about. There's nothing to.
Oh yeah. Anyway,
there's no drama yet. But yeah, Watford are winning 2-0 though at Reading, against Reading, sorry, which is a good result for Watford.
But even I was looking, Wolves aren't even on that thing. There's only 7 points, 7 games. It's not a massive. I mean, they're a much better team than us and pretty much everybody else in around there, but they're having a dodgy run of it and aren't performing great shakes. And you get a few wins out of that and a few losses for Wolves. I mean, teams like Wolves and Palace aren't totally out of the mix yet, really, are they?
I can't see anybody else other than us and Fulham now, to be honest with you, because you've got to think about the amount of games we've got to lose and the amount of games we've got to win.
I'm just trying to make it a bit more exciting,
I know you are.
Like us against Fulham's not going to be.
Just taking the Steve Bruce tactic there. There's 6 teams in it. It's like, what team, Steve? Stop being an idiot.
Yeah, cancel the season. We'll just play Fulham versus Newcastle, and then whoever wins stays up, and then sad the rest of it. We don't need the rest of the games.
Yeah, well, I've said on quite a few different podcasts and stuff like that if it does go down to the last game of the season, I think we're down. I think we need to be safe after the Sheffield United game. Fulham have to be already down, otherwise I can't see us doing it. I know we beat them 4-0 when Rafa was there, but the game meant nothing at the last game of the season last time.
Different circumstances.
Exactly. So I mean, there's so many games to be played now up until that one where there's potential goal difference comes into play. If we get battered off City or they get battered off City, the goal difference can swing into our favour, or it could be against us, which it is at the moment, but it could be even further against us. So it's that's why I talk about playing 11 people behind the ball against City. Just don't let them score. Let them have 1 or 2 if they need to, but don't concede 4 or 5 or 6, because then it's making us look stupid.
You just hope so. That I'm just having a look at when do we play them?
Champions League, haven't they?
They've got the Champions League. If they're in the Champions League semi-final, they've won the league, really, haven't they? They're far enough ahead now to have pretty much sewn that up. If they've got Champions League semi-final midweek, then they're going to be, resting players on then, and you get the opportunity. It might only be 3-0 instead of 6-0, but there's things like that. And I don't know who else. Arsenal, they're still in Europe as well. They might be.
I think they're going to get knocked out by the first leg.
To those, yes.
even then, Arsenal aren't great at the moment. They're ninth in the Premier League.
Yeah.
There's no reason why we can't get a result against Arsenal, and that was why I say forget about Leicester, Man City, Liverpool, but think about West Ham, Arsenal, Sheffield United, and Burnley on Sunday. You know, they're the games that potentially we could get points against and then make us safe before the last game of the season. So what's this one? We have to be quietly confident and hope that the accumulation of points sees us through. He loves that, doesn't he, Steve Bruce? The accumulation of points. Roll your sleeves up, dust ourselves off.
Yeah. But then that's that, you know, without sounding like it is the accumulation. There's no point. I don't know what the alternative is for accumulation of points. You need to keep picking up points. And you might have only won 2 and 21, like you say, but before then we won 4 and 8, or however many it was in the first part of that season. Pre kind of December, wasn't it? We did reasonably had a decent accumulated some points.
Well, we looked safe, didn't we? And that's why all the pundits were shouting and screaming, going, "Why do you want Bruce sacked? Why do you want this? Why do you want change?" It's like, because the football was dying and we could see it coming. That doesn't bode well, saying Fulham are playing well. Don't like the sound of that.
Fulham have been playing well all season and just haven't got the wins and the points. And it's, I think, I know they were talking about Sheffield United, the similar kind of thing, and Brighton and teams like that. That, you know, Sheffield United last season had an amazing season, but
they
won 1-0 and they won, you know, by the odd goal. So, and you get lucky. So you could play well or terribly and get the results. But all it needs is a little bit of luck, or one thing doesn't go your way, and you know, you end up losing those games or drawing them and stuff. Or, you know, Fulham been playing well, haven't been getting the results. But then they'll play well and they'll beat Wolves 4-0 or something, won't they? And, you know, it's
it's kind of what we expect, isn't it? But look at Palace against Brighton. Nowhere near did they deserve to win that game, and they ended up winning it 2-1. So, what's this one? Wolves look like they're playing with a Portugal kit on. Well, they're all Portuguese, aren't they? I think that's the joke. But Fulham have played well all season. I like the manager. I like Scott Parker, but we don't want them to do well. And I think, to be honest with you, when they went 1-0 up with 10 minutes to go, and they capitulated and lost 3-1, that really gave me a lot of confidence that they're not going to pick up the points now. I think the confidence will be shot from that. So it's the one thing I took away from it, as well as them not getting 3 points or a point. They're actually doing quite well, but that's what gets me. They play so well and can't get the results, and we play so boring and pick up points, which keeps the cabbage in charge. Well, we know he shouldn't be in charge. 2 wins in 21. There's no manager ever, other than Steve Bruce, can survive that kind of run of form and not get sacked. I mean, can you think of any other manager in our lifetime that's won 2 games in 21 and not been sacked?
Well, like you said, it doesn't really happen, does it? I mean, I'm just trying to think. Didn't Hull were the 3rd at Christmas, weren't they? And then just lost everything for the rest of the season. And I don't know whether they got relegated. Well, they did get relegated. I don't know whether
that Ian Holloway
stuff, didn't they? Was it Phil Brown?
Well, it might have been Phil Brown, actually.
Yeah. Like you say, I mean, I get that's just, they're completely different clubs, I suppose, and sometimes you can have such a bad run of form, and you know, I just mentioned about Sheffield United. You would have thought the best man for the job for next season, getting relegated, would be Chris Wilder. So you lose all your games, but that manager's still the one who can kind of. But then, like you say, you've lost that many games. The fans don't have confidence in the manager. The players, what kind of confidence do the players have in a manager when they're performing so badly? You know, is it kind of, do you stop playing for them? Do you? What new can they tell you on the training ground, or not the training ground, as the case may be? Which I guess the introduction of Graham Jones was kind of a positive in the fact that it gives you a different ear to listen to, doesn't it?
To bash, yeah. I mean, there was rumours about that apparently Ashley brought him in to rock the ball to force Bruce's hand to quit. And then Martinez or Eddie Howe would step in alongside Graham Jones again, because that's what he is a number 2, isn't he? And a very, very, very good one. You don't do well at Bournemouth and then Belgium as a number 2 and not be good at your job. So, but that was the rumours. I don't know if it's true or not, but it's looking quite obvious now with him being sent to the stands and he's not allowed to talk to Bruce when he's on the touchline and stuff like this. It all seems to be adding up a little bit, doesn't it?
I guess then Bruce has turned around, well, I'm in charge, I'm the boss, so it's kind of he's stuck 2 fingers up on Ashley. If your rumours are true, he's going, nah, I'm the boss here, so sack us or
forcing his hand to sack him. Yeah. What a nightmare we're in. Yeah, let's wrap it up and let's go for our score predictions. People who are watching, send in your score predictions so we know what you fancy. Go on, Craig, you go first. I'll put your head on the block.
Yeah. Well, I think we've kind of skirted around the 1-1 again, haven't we? But like I was saying, I mean, Burnley have scored 1 goal against us in the last 5 games at Turf Moor, I think. They don't concede many goals.
A lot of 0-0s, isn't there? And the 1-0 win for them, I think, was when they scored that 1 goal.
Yeah. I mean, it's like we said, it's not going to be a classic, is it? It's going to be 0-0 or 1-0 to either team, isn't it? So I mean, do I dare say 1-1 and sound like a broken record?
Sit on the fence again, like we have done for the last 5 shows.
But we haven't been too far. It was only the Brighton game where we've really kind of got it wrong, haven't we? We've kind of said it's going to be 0-0, 1-1, kind of 1 goal in it kind of thing, and that's the kind of position we're in. That's the kind of position there, and they don't score tons of goals either. That 3-2 against Southampton was quite a extravagant game for a Burnley game, wasn't it? So
it was. I mean, they were 2-0 up. To let that slip was very unlike Burnley.
Exactly.
Normally they see those kind of games out, don't they?
Give you a bit of confidence that they have, they can concede goals. So saying that, let's go with 2-1 to Newcastle. Then we've given us an extra goal.
So yeah, I am a little bit more confident myself personally. I did say that at the start of the show after watching us be quite dominant against Spurs. I don't know if it was because it was at home and we're used to our ground. Obviously, going to Turf Moor, it's a bit more tighter, isn't it? It's a bit more of a smaller pitch as well. But if we've got Wilson back, we've got ASM sitting on the bench, and we've got Willock sitting on the bench ready to come on as well, and it's tight, I can still see us winning this game 1 or 2-0. I think the one thing that's really dented my confidence is Lascelles not being fit and maybe Fernandez not being fit. So our back line is a little bit worrying. Like before today, I was like, oh yeah, 2-1, 2-0, we're going to win. But now I'm like, that back line, which is a bit horrible. So I am going to stay confident, though. I am going to go for 2-1 like yourself. So let's hope we're on this show next week celebrating 3 points. Fingers crossed. And hopefully we're celebrating a Wolves win, but it's still 0-0 at the moment. So let's keep our fingers crossed they can do us a favour. But yep. So I'll wrap it up there. Craig, I'll pop you in the background.
Go. Cheers. Thanks for watching, everyone.
So, guys, thanks for watching, everyone who's tuned in and anyone who watches this on replay. If you do enjoy me and Craig and whoever fan we get on from the opposition, please do like, share and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget, you got a chance to win this amazing prize. All you got to do is sign up to my channel. It doesn't cost anything. And when I hit 500 subscribers, I will send that out to one lucky viewer. And I think it's all worth about £100 there, and I'm giving it away for free. How crazy am I in this day and age when money is so desperate for everyone? So, subscribe, you'll have a chance of winning it. So to wrap it all up, massive, massive game on Sunday. For me, it's a must not lose again. I think I'm like a broken record because I've said that on every single show. If we can get a point, it'll be a good point. But I am a lot more confident than I have been. So I would like to see us win 2-1. Fingers crossed. Let's just see what happens. But thanks for watching, guys.